This is Mayor Ron Anders with the Auburn's Mayor's Minutes from our April the 21st, 2020 City Council meeting. We began during the Committee of the Whole last night by reappointing Ms. Melanie Chambliss to the Auburn City School Board. Melanie has served a partial term and a full term and was eligible for a second full term. She wished to remain on the Auburn City School Board, and the Auburn City School Superintendent, Dr. Kristen Herring, communicated to me that Melanie's done an outstanding job and has been an outstanding representative of Auburn City Schools. And so the City Council determined last night to reappoint Melanie, and we look forward to her serving another 5 years on behalf of our children and our families in Auburn on the Auburn City School Board. We also talked about the renaming of Hubbard Boulevard last night during the Committee of the Whole, and former Representative Hubbard has sent a letter to me that asked me to please remove his name from that street. And so I shared that with the council last night, his request. I do agree with Mr. Hubbard that the time is now for us to make that change. And so the City Council agreed to remand that to the Planning Commission under our rules of how we operate as a city. The Planning Commission will have to approve that first, and then it will come back to the City Council. The official request is to rename the road Bent Creek Road, which is an extension of Bent Creek Road as it enters into the airport property. That makes the most sense for the time being to rename it Bent Creek Road for a number of reasons. And so we'll work with that here in the future as we go through the spring. As we get into this agenda last night, the first thing we talked about and we approved was we purchased 10 in-car video systems for our police division, almost $60,000. And as we look at modern technology and how it affects public safety, video is certainly very important for all of that, and we were happy to approve those last night. We adopted some regulations for the small cell wireless associated structures and equipment. The story behind this is that we believe in the state legislature, which is scheduled to reconvene sometime in the near future, that there is a law that will come through, a bill that will come through that will allow certain companies to install small cell wireless infrastructure on the right-of-ways in municipalities. And the municipalities will not have a mechanism to govern that. We feel like it's in Auburn's best interest, it's in your best interest as a community, it's in our commercial property owners, our residential property owners' best interest for the city to have a say-so as to what infrastructure is installed on our right-of-ways. What we understand and what our lawyers have told us is if we do have an ordinance in place, it will be grandfathered, and whatever is passed in Montgomery cannot supersede that. And so we had an ordinance drafted. Appreciate all the support of all of our staff and our legal team for assisting us with that, and the City Council did approve that last night. There's a lot of information in there. I would encourage you, if you've got a lot of time on your hands, to please go and look at that and read that. It is a lot of information, but just know at the end of the day that your city has control of what will be installed on our right-of-ways, which in many times are in very strategic locations that we go out of our way to keep beautiful and to cut the grass and to edge the curbs, and we do not want just to hand it over to anyone to install their infrastructure. We want to work with them. We also want you to know that if it's important for our community to have this new wireless technology, and if that's going to be a great improvement on all of our lives, that we don't want to keep that from happening. We just want to be able to say what it looks like and where it goes, and to let you know that we're looking out for you. In annexations last night, we approved an annexation of 31.89 acres located on West Farmville Road, and this is for the Auburn City Board of Education. This will be a site of a new elementary school that will eventually partner with Yarborough School. I do believe that the school system will be embarking on a construction project there in the near future, but this is currently in the county, and we brought that into the city last night. We did approve an annexation of 4.5 acres off of Lee Road 26 on Sand Hill Road, actually, near the intersection of Lee Road 26. And then we also approved another annexation of 3 acres at 254 Lee Road 57, which is also called Willis Turk Road last night. Also under zoning, under ordinances and zoning, we updated the PDD for Yarborough Farms, which is also could be known as the AU Club. There was a stay-and-play facility that was going to be built there, and they have taken that off the PDD and have given that back over for golf uses. There are also some subtle adjustments of some multifamily homes and some fee simple townhomes that would be built, and some locations that those would be built in. I encourage you to go to our website and look at those maps if you'd like more information on that. We tabled last night or postponed an update to the zoning ordinance for the Cox and Wire Road corridor focus area study. After that study was done, there were some recommendations from planning to create a new zoning condition out there, regulation. Councilman Tommy Dawson, who represents that area, asked us last night to please postpone this. He felt like that not only him, but many of his residents and constituents were not prepared to make a determination on whether they approve or don't approve this. And so we decided last night to postpone that, I believe, to the first meeting in June. Last night was also the first night for us to look at approving some of our working capital loan interest subsidy program loans and agreements. Once again, this is a program that the city has started with different financial institutions in our community, where the city will pay up to 4% of the interest over a 3-year period of time for a loan that the bank makes with an individual business. These loans can be made up to $25,000. And so last night was the first time that the City Council has been able to look at these and approve these interest subsidy agreements. Very proud to say that 7 businesses applied for these loans, and they were all approved last night. That represented 4 different financial institutions. The businesses are Jewelry by Design, Southern Roots, which is operating as Barbaritos, the Chiz Restaurants, which is operating as Louie's, Auburn Pediatric Dentistry, Auburn Pharmacy, the Auburn Hospitality Group, and Champion Bistro. So we're very happy that they're going to get the kind of support that they need now to get through this difficult time. We thank those financial institutions for working with these businesses, and we look forward to approving more of these in the coming meetings here in the month of May. In resolutions, we approved an amenity use for the Woodward Oaks subdivision. Basically, this will be a pool and a clubhouse use. We approved a road service use, which will be a fast food and a drive-through at the intersection of East Glen and East Sanford. Actually, this is on Sam Glen Drive, right next to the Valley Bank, near Bow and Arrow and the Church of the Highlands. And we postponed the discussion last night. We had a long discussion, but we postponed the decision over a commercial recreation use at the southwest corner of East University Drive and DeKalb Street. The long and the short of this is the developer would like to put a restaurant there and a miniature golf course. And the miniature golf course is not what you might think is a traditional miniature golf course with carpet and where you putt the ball, but this is actually a small golf course where you tee off and you hit a ball towards a green and you putt the ball into a hole, but it's played with a wiffle ball as opposed to a hard traditional golf ball. And obviously the length of the holes is much different. There was certainly some questions about traffic, there was questions about lighting, there was questions about noise and buffering, and there was basic questions about just understanding how this would function and operate. The council decided to postpone this decision until the second meeting in May, and so we'll take this back up in the second meeting in May and hopefully have some more information and have a clearer idea of what's going to be going there as we approach the second meeting in May. I remind you that the governor yesterday did not change anything with her order under the current conditions that we're living in with the pandemic and the COVID-19. So based on that, we will continue to operate as we have been over the last month until April the 30th. And then we will see at that point in time if the governor reopens Alabama and allows some of the businesses to be open at a certain level and allows us to regather and participate in some of the activities that we're so used to participating in our daily lives. I would encourage you and ask you to continue to be patient and stay vigilant, to do all the things that you've been asked to do. Do not be in groups of more than 10. I also continue to ask you to support our restaurants by ordering takeout and taking that food home and enjoying that food. And I do hope that the time is coming very soon where we can resume our life and for many of us, including myself, go get a haircut and be able to get back and do the kind of things that we want to do to enjoy Auburn, especially this time of year with our children and with our family and friends and neighbors. But for the time being, the governor has asked us to remain as we are and continue to live by the restrictions that she set early in April. I want to thank everybody from the city staff for helping us get through this month of city council meetings. We've been meeting through Zoom and it's certainly been very unusual. And I appreciate all the support of all the staff, particularly our IT staff that has made that happen on behalf of the city and behalf of you, the citizens. I appreciate your patience as we work through this very difficult time. It's a little more difficult to communicate amongst the City Council. It's more difficult for us to communicate with you and for you to communicate with us through these difficult times that we're living in. But let's just hope and pray that soon we'll be back to living our lives as we are used to. This is Ron Anders with the Mayor's Minutes from our April 21st meeting. Have a good week.